Looking at number 28, again, what you see here is the first number is not positive. The leading coefficient is not a positive, so I'm going to factor out a negative to start this. Change the sign of each of the terms that follow. Okay, and now what I'm going to do, even though 7 is a prime number, 4 is not, again, if you want, the trial and error steps on this are not that difficult. What makes the trial and error more plausible is the fact that since your constant now is a positive, you know that your last two terms, when you write your binomial factors, have to have the same sign. They're either both positives or both negatives. Well, since the sum has to be a negative, you know that they're both going to be negative. So again, if you use trial and error on this, what you would look to test, you know that the first terms have to be 7g and g. Those are the only factors of 7g squared. Your last terms, when you test this, since their product is positive and the sum is negative, you know it has to be negatives. So it's either -4, -1, -1, -4, or -2, -2. Those are the only ones that you have to test. So in fact, there's only 3 that you need to test here. Right? So even though +4 has other factors, right? It has +1 and +4, it has +2 and +2, but because the total sum of the outer and inner terms is a negative, you don't even need to worry about those. So here you could just use trial and error and find which of these outer plus inner products is equal to a -11. So if we test it, 7g times a -1 is -7g minus 4g. Does that give us -11g? Yeah. So you actually find those would be your factors. Okay, now let's say we did this by rewriting the middle term. Okay, so that's the other consistent way to approach it without any wasted effort. Okay, if we take our leading coefficient times our constant, 7 times 4 is 28. What two factors of 28 give us a total sum of -11? -7 and -4, right? So if we rewrite that middle term as -7g minus 4g, drop the first and last terms down. Now again, we still have this minus out front. Right? And then factor by grouping. So if we group the first pair and second pair, we have our negative still. The common factor we can remove from the first two terms, 7g, leaving us with the g minus 1. The common factor we can remove from the second pair, -4, leaving a g minus 1. So we have this common factor of g minus 1, and the remaining factors of 7g and -4 form the terms of our other binomial. And you can see that it winds up showing the exact same thing. But trial and error was a quicker method here. Okay, so again, it all depends. Trial and error depends on how many different factors you'd have to test by trial and error. Anything 4 and below, it's pretty efficient. Anything above that, if there's a whole bunch of different factors from both the numerator or the leading coefficient and the constant, then I'd go straight with rewrite the middle term.